So that might sound a little strange, but there actually are quite a few women that can actually feel when they're fertile. And around, let's say, October to December, sometimes it could be very common to not feel as fertile as you maybe have before in the past, like let's say in the spring or the summer. Well, that's actually totally normal. Of course, we are, human beings, and so therefore we similar to other animals that go into heat in the spring and summer, we tend to feel a little bit more fertile or frisky around that time of the year. When it gets to like around October in winter, just like it starts to get cold, we can sometimes go into like somewhat of a hibernation. Again, this is not scientific what I'm talking about right now, but it really is based a lot on our feelings and our energy around this time of the year, because it really makes more sense to sort of stay put, not do too much. Even if you look at how like we behave around the winter time, women may not be dressing as, let's say, not showing as much skin, I'll just say that, which will not necessarily, help attracting a certain partner to you, right? And not to say that, you won't be able to like attract a partner if you're not dressing revealing or anything like that. But, you know, we tend to do things in the spring and summer that we, might do the opposite of in the winter and the fall, which could sort of like, again, considering that men are visual, if they're not seeing that, then, you might not, whatever. Okay, you get the point. The point I'm making here is that around this time of year, it's not uncommon for you to not feel as fertile. And yes, there are some women that can actually feel when they're fertile, especially around the time of ovulation, right? And it's even for some women that are married or in relationships, around that time, they, tend to cheat and tend to be a little more, provocative with their dressing and things like that. So I'm not 100% sure if this is scientifically proven, but I know that around the winter time, that is not uncommon for you to feel like not as sexy. We'll just say that. There are times in a woman's life when she just doesn't feel that way. Like this can be like after birth, this can be while you're pregnant. And again, it could also be during the winter time. So this is not true for all women, but if you are feeling this way, this video is for you, right? So if you haven't been feeling as fertile around this time, there are actually some things that you can do about it. One of the things that you can do is you can regulate your nervous system. So one of the reasons why you may not be feeling fertile, regardless of what time of the year it is or what time of the month it is for you, or during your cycle, like wherever you're at during your cycle, one of the reasons why you might not be feeling as fertile is because your nervous system can be on high drive, and you could be overstimulated, and you could just not be feeling the most, feminine, the most fertile as you could possibly be. And it could be because you're stressed out, your cortisol is high, and you're on edge or you're feeling rushed, especially around the winter. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, our body goes through 4 womb cycles, our fertility cycles, every single year, in general. Okay, so this is not like straight across the board for every woman, and this is based on your 90-day, or roughly 90 days. Some women is 120 days. Some women could be more or less. Cycle when your eggs are coming out of dormancy until the time that you ovulate. So that takes about 90 days for most women, or for a lot of women. Okay, and so if you look at it that way, we only have about 4 of these fertility cycles or womb cycles every single year. And naturally, if you align that with the months of the year or the seasons, just like the seasons on this planet, you have about 4 seasons or 4 cycles. And so around October, November, December are like, maybe even between like November, December, January, or January, February. Sorry, December, January, February. Sometime around that time, again, depending on where you are in your cycle, you could be going into what is called the integration phase. And during this phase, this is the time when naturally, if we again are synced up with like the circadian rhythm and just the rhythm of the planet, naturally around this time, this is a time when our womb is really trying to process, things on an energetic basis. It's trying to process previous cycles and things that we've been through in the past. And so this will happen for the most part at the end of every of those 4 cycles that I just talked about. At the end of all of those 4 cycles, you will have like a sort of smaller version or shorter version. And again, I'm speaking energetically, right? You will have before you go into the next season, you will have this sort of phase where again you've just ovulated. And again, so for some women this can happen every month, but like basically what's happening is there is an energetic pull for you, for your body to sort of make sense of everything that's happened, or to get closure, or to integrate what is happening. So during this season, this holiday season, your nervous system could be overstimulated, and it could cause you to sort of skip this season, or to prolong this season, to prolong this integration cycle. So if you have no clue what I'm talking about, I made a video. It's going to be, I'll link it either here, or it will definitely be in the description. So make sure that you go and check that out. But during this cycle, instead of us going into that phase and getting the closure for this winter season, or for this, again, integration phase, what's happening is that for a lot of women, they're being rushed from one holiday to the next, rushed to get ready for the winter, to get ready for next year, rushed to do a lot of things. So you could naturally be skipping the cycle. So one thing that you really can want to do to help to, again, feel fertile, to feel yourself again, to feel youthful, to feel rejuvenated, is to regulate your nervous system. And so how you would do this is, number one way that you can do it is you could do deep breathing exercises, right? So breathing deeply into your lungs, but imagining and visualizing that the air, or that your breath is going deep into your lungs, deep into your womb, can help you to regulate your nervous system, as well as integrating the womb in this process. So deep breathing is something that, it has been proven and has been shown to reduce stress and to calm the nervous system. So this is one thing that can also help with fertility, can help to improve fertility, is to enhance fertility by increasing circulation and breathing, circulation and fresh oxygen into the lungs. So that's something that you can try. You can do, not try. No, sis, we're not trying anything. I really encourage you to do that. So set aside time in the morning or before you go to bed, and do some deep breathing exercises. The next thing you can do to regulate your nervous system is to include heat. So you could include this in your breathing practice while you're doing it. I like to combine certain fertility rituals together. So heat is like another thing that you can include in this deep breathing exercise to regulate your nervous system. And so you could do that by using a heating pad, or rubbing your hands together, warming them up. And I like to do this breath that when I do this activity for other people, they find it like really, really common, and like they just really like it. So one thing I do is I warm my hands up, I rub them together, and then I'll like breathe hot air into them as though I'm fogging a window. And so I like to do this with oil in my hand, like shea butter, or like a thick oil, because it helps to like really get the oil hot. And that's why I do. Because when I used to work with, or when I used to sell shea butter, that is what that was one, like I had access to shea butter. So like trying to like warm up the shea butter for my own self, what I used to do is I used to do that. So I started doing that for other people. But so you could add heat that way by either rubbing your hands together, blowing hot air, or again, just making sure that the room that you're in is warm, and um, placing those warm hands on your womb, okay, or the heating pad, or even like a heating blanket or a warm blanket. You also want to make sure that you are covered, so you have blankets draped across your legs, that you have some blankets over your back, and like do this breathing exercise where you are comfortable in a room and in a situation where you're comfortable. So that's one thing that you can do. Okay. The next thing that you can do is slow body movements. Okay. So when you move slower, when you calm down and you slow your pace down, you help to tell your body that you're safe, that you're not in danger, and that you are in a good space for you to conceive, right? So for so many women, they are rushing again throughout the day, throughout the months. Like we have 3 months back to back every single year when women are rushing from maybe Halloween, Thanksgiving to um sorry, Christmas, and then into like January, into the New Year's, and then probably even into February, okay, and then into March break. So and then into it just doesn't stop for some people who are really sort of like, real deep in the matrix and real deep in like what society values and tells you that you should value, and that's not even including work. So when you slow down, okay, you tell your body you're safe, you're soft, there's nothing to worry about, and it converts into sending the messages to your brain and to your womb that now is a good time to conceive. Okay, so with that, another way to possibly regulate your nervous system is to also have intercourse. So many women are not having intercourse, and if one way to actually conceive is to do that, and intercourse is not just for not just for conceiving a baby right at that moment, right? So sometimes it can help to do it with your partner when you're feeling safe and you're soft. Of course, you don't want to get into it if you're not comfortable or anything like that, but just also incorporating that um, without it being without it being like overly planned and things like that. So just making sure that you're fitting it in, because you might be rushing and panicking and so worried about things that are going on that you're not even able to take the time to slow down to actually have the do the do. Okay, so the next thing that you can do to feel more fertile is to let go of all of these old timelines. So if you're watching this video, you're probably over 35, okay? And let me stop this. Are we going to be able to? No, I press snooze. That means it's going to come right back. All right, so this is live, so it is what it is. But the next thing that you can do to feel more fertile again is to let go of old timelines, right? Because it's the timelines that is really making you feel the pressure. The statement that once you get over 35, you're running out of time, or it's too late, or by the time that you're 40 you go into menopause, or when are you going to have a baby, or feeling like maybe from a past cycle that didn't go the way that you wanted to go, like you're a failure because you didn't get pregnant last month, or seeing when your next cycle comes feeling like, oh, disappointed because you got your period, or maybe because you didn't ovulate when you've only been actively preparing your body for conception for like less than 21 days or something like that. Letting go of these timelines and these dates and the pressure to feel as though you should have already conceived. You should have already been a mother. You should have already given birth. You should have already been in a relationship. You should have already found a partner. You should have this or that. Letting go of these timelines can take a lot of pressure off of you to conceive this year. Okay. And so remember to check the video out in one of these corners. And it's called Fertility Energetics, or how to end your fertility cycle, or how to end your womb cycle energetics. Okay, so it's part of my fertility energetics series that I'm doing with you. This is included in the playlist. So make sure to check out the playlist to see all the videos included in this. I'm dedicating this, specifically for the end of the year, because again, this is a time where a lot of women are feeling rushed, or their fertility might even be put on the back burner. And it could also be a time where, again, if you're not closing out the end of the year, that you are not integrating everything that you've been through throughout the year. And again, you're not closing the cycle. So you can go into next year just feeling, really behind, or not feeling like you are where you want to be. So that video will help you to close the cycle outright. But so you want to erase those timelines, okay, out of your mind and out of your subconscious. And one way to also do that is to visualize a calendar with all of these expectations, little different boxes, the little different dates. Please tell me you remember what a calendar looks like, sis. I know we've been on these phones and on these computers for a long time, but even if you want to visualize your phone screen as a calendar, do that. But visualize a calendar or a schedule or even your planner with all of these expectations of what you should have did, where you should be by now, all of the deadlines, and visualize all of those deadlines and all of those notes sort of lifting off the paper and fading like into a smoke, and just fading away, just like brushing away like dirt, just blow it away. You might even want to do this when you're exhaling, when you're doing your breathing exercise. You might want to visualize yourself again looking at the calendar, and as you exhale, visualize yourself blowing all of those expectations and timelines away. So you don't have to visualize yourself blowing any of your dreams and your hopes away, just anything that makes you feel pressure, or makes you feel stressed out, or makes you feel like you're not where you're supposed to be, right? So on top of that, to help to shed these old timelines, you can also journal about whatever it is that makes you feel rushed, that makes you feel not settled or unsettled. Journal about anything that is time related. So anything that you feel like you should have either been by now, or you should have done by now, or that makes you feel like you're running out of time, or you're too late. Journal about that exact, thought or emotion or feeling. And so what will happen is, when you are doing the breathing exercise that I talked to you about earlier, what will happen is sometimes these thoughts will actually come up on their own. So if you're feeling like right now, well, I don't know what to journal, I just feel rushed, I just feel pressured. Again, it's because you haven't slowed down. So right now, it might not click, but when you're doing your breathing exercise and it's still and it's quiet, those are the times when a lot of the womb stuff, okay, the stuff that has been unintegrated and unprocessed, all of the, the grief and the pain and things like that, they will come up to you as gentle, little notifications from the womb. And so you take that, girl, you just write that down. Sometimes I don't want to do it. Sometimes I just want to do my little womb breathing and my womb exercise. But then a thought will come and it's like, oh, I should write this down. So just have a pen and a paper nearby, and if something seems like, really important, and, something that you really want to process later, then yes, definitely write that down. Sometimes the other stuff, you just have to let it rise. You just have to thank the thoughts and thank the energies and emotions for coming. You have to let it go, because it's really, if you're really just focused on doing your breathing exercise, and sometimes you just have to do that. But sometimes you want to integrate the journaling with the breathing exercises, right? So you just journal about that, and you really want to journal about like how it makes you feel, okay, and where you heard it from. Okay, this is really important because um, just think about it. If you were just born on an island, okay, and you didn't have any parents and there was no there, maybe except for your partner or just like one other person, you wouldn't have these thoughts that you're gonna be infertile after 35, or that you should have a baby by 35, or that by 40 you're gonna be hitting menopause. You wouldn't even have these thoughts. You would just be eating coconuts and mangoes and drinking water from the ocean and going on the beach, and I don't know, maybe figuring out how to get off the island. But anyways, you you wouldn't be having these ideas. So these thoughts and these ideas came from somewhere and they're causing you stress. Identify where they came from, how it makes you feel, and how you want to feel instead. Okay, rewrite what you're gonna think when those thoughts come up. No, I am not behind. I am right where I need to be when I have my baby. My baby is going to feel safe and secure just like I did. So, or maybe if you're wanting to prepare your womb because you have some other issues like maybe blocked tubes or irregular cycles, maybe you want to sort of more focus on that and say, my tubes are not blocked. They are processing old tissue, and it is dissolving every day. Okay, we're not behind. We are right where we need to be. We're doing exactly what we need to do. If your cycles are irregular, no, they're not. Who said that? Who said that? We're on an island. Remember, nobody even knows what that is. Regular cycle? No, no, no. My cycles are not irregular. They are aligned with the moon or something. They are recalibrating. Okay, my cycles are recalibrating. Okay, and just to add this little note, so another way to add heat or warmth to your womb, which will help with your nervous system, is to yoni steam. And what happens for a lot of women is after you yoni steam, your womb actually does start recalibrating. So your cycles can become a little, not what they used to be. Okay, you might get some spotting in between. Your cycle might come earlier, it might come later. Well, that's your womb recalibrating right in front of you. Okay, right in what they say, 4D, cotton flat, cotton 4K. Okay, that's your womb recalibrating in 4K. So yes, your womb, your cycles will recalibrate from time to time, right? So really, we want to, prophecy over our womb. We want to rewrite our womb history, our history. We want to erase the old timeline. So you want to journal about that, and that will help you to rid those old timelines from your subconscious mind. And of course, this is not just something you want to do once or twice. It's something you really want to incorporate into your cycle. And again, during this time, it's really important because during oh, here it goes again. Let me try to do it better. I might have to move this phone a little bit. There we go. I really hope I wasn't cutting my face off this whole time. Okay, so let's see, can I see myself? Not sure. Anyways, so it's really okay. So during the end of the year, so I will say, depending again on, like, if we just use the end of the year, okay, October, November, December. During this time, okay, we can kind of feel like, again, it's time for us to just slow down, to process, and to integrate. And so this is like a natural portal, okay, that is open at the end of the year. And that's why, one, I'm making this video because it's such a powerful time, especially in December, to, release the old timelines and to regulate your nervous system before moving into the next year, because we don't want to carry that energy into the next year. And I feel like for so many people, like, you kind of feel the same way too, but you get caught up with, rushing. But if you're seeing this video, hopefully I'm going to disrupt, okay, that pattern that is going to prevent you from closing this year, or closing, the end of whatever year you're in, or, closing even whatever cycle you're in. Like I said, there's about four for every woman throughout the year, and you can do the same thing every 3 months. Okay, but yeah, December especially is a very powerful time because we are more open to letting things go. Like there's just some things that we just didn't accomplish this year, and we can't go back in time. Where we, I don't know, maybe you can, girl, hook me up if you know how, because I know sometime in, like, I don't know, like early 2000s, late 90s, that I would love to like time hop to, just because I feel like life was so much better back then. But anyways, if you're from that, that generation and that era around that time, then you're here with me now. So I guess we are time hopping irregardless. But anyways, during December, we're just open to letting things go anyways. It just becomes blocked when we are rushing and we're not focused on, performing closing ceremonies, because we've lost our ways. Just we used to practice closing ceremonies, just like you have intentions when you're wanting to do something. One of the things that a lot gets forgot a lot when we are manifesting and when we are going about our lives and doing our rituals and going throughout our day is to perform closing rituals. So December is like a powerful time to just, especially close out any unprocessed grief or emotions or energies throughout the year, or that we've accumulated throughout the year, that we haven't processed, through all the other cycles, or even your menstrual cycle, all of the past cycles that didn't go the way you wanted, past um, miscarriages and things like that. Sometimes we just get clouded and we just want to just continue on with life and just forget about it. Well, the womb doesn't forget. She's not about to forget. She's gonna hold on to that shoulders. She's gonna be like, sis, you are going to pay attention to this. Otherwise, I'm gonna hold on to this for like 5 or 10 years, and boom, it's gonna be a fibroid, or boom, it's gonna be a cyst or a polyps, or endometriosis. And it's not that your womb hates you. It's not that your womb is out to get you. She just wants you to complete the natural stage of her processing and how she operates, okay, and how she is able to get rid of energies and even physical things like toxins and old tissues. So again, use December as your portal for processing any unresolved grief or pain or anything that you've experienced throughout the year. So another way for you to feel fertile again is to verbally like affirm that you are where you want to be. Okay, to verbally affirm that you are fertile again. So one of my favorite affirmations is, I am already fertile. So that is like one affirmation that you can say. And if you're not feeling quite there yet, then I do have some affirmations that you can say. You can say, I release rushing myself, old timelines, and fear. Because that, at the end of the day, is what this is all about. It's about fear. So by verbalizing and articulating, you're really prophesying, to some degree over your womb, because you're re-imprinting the direction that you're going forward with in the future. And so if you're wondering, girl, I done got burnt. I don't know what they put in either the flour or the oil, but lately there's this one recipe that I can't seem to make with the flour anymore, because it just starts exploding and like it's crazy. But so yeah, if you see my arms, blood, that's what it is. and that's what happened to my face. But I am processing this, and I am also integrating this into my closing ritual and closing ceremony for the year. But yeah, that's beside the point. Anyways, so you can say affirmations to help to verbally articulate, you know, the prophecy that you have for your womb, or to release old timelines, to regulate your nervous system. So again, that one was, I release rushing and old timelines and fear. Okay, and you want to say this while you are doing your deep breathing exercise with your hand over your womb and feeling nice and cozy. If you can hear in the back, I do have my little heater running because I needed a quiet space, and we're going to do this in some nice heat. Okay. Another affirmation prophecy you can say over your womb is, I am exactly where I am supposed to be. Okay, so that is a very powerful one because that helps to neutralize all of the I'm behind, or I should have this by now, or I thought I'd be here by now, or someone said, I'm running out of time. The doctor said, you're running out of time. People are asking, when are you going to conceive? You can even say your affirmation to people. I am exactly where I need to be. And one thing I like to kind of casually do is, like, if people are like saying something, you just casually be like, I release rushing, I release old timelines and fear. And they might not catch it right away because you saying it like, sort of in the same sync and tone as you normally would respond, or like you're fitting in a little conversation. But yeah, you're like something like, oh girl, when you gonna conceive, blah, when you gonna have a baby? Girl, I done released rushing and old timelines and fear out of my life and out of my room. So you can do things like that. And again, like I said, my favorite is, I am already fertile. So if you're already fertile, you don't got to rush about nothing, right? You don't have to worry about timelines. You don't got to worry about deadlines and any of that stuff. And it also helps, again, with the regulating of your nervous system, because if you are already fertile, then there's nothing to worry about. And so, one way how this all works to help you to feel fertile again is because fertility, it's a frequency, it's an energy, it literally is a vibe. Okay, so if you're fertile on the outside, highly likely that you are going to be fertile on the inside. So if you're feeling, youthful and rejuvenated, that means you have a lot of energy. Okay, and ovulating takes a lot of energy. Conceiving a baby takes a lot of energy. So it's really important that we keep our energy high. It's really important that you keep your frequency high. And it's really important, more than all of that, that you match the frequency of fertility. So again, if you think about fertility is a very soft, loving, um, you know, like energetic. It's not something that is draining. It's not something that is a solo um, operation. It's usually something where you have, there's like a lot of love involved. Like, we're talking about making a baby here, right? So you really want to match the frequency of almost like your ideal you and the woman that you want to become when you conceive. And of course, we're talking about ideals here, so not everything is going to be perfect. It really just has to be good enough. Like, you really just have to improve a little something here or there, improve a little something here or there. So we're talking about, like, mindset, and that's predominantly what a lot of this is. But also, we're talking about activities, things that are very womb focused, like the womb breathing, the journaling. You want to have your mind on your womb and your womb on your mind. Okay, so that is my wrap for the day. I love playing with y'all, but on a serious note, that is one way for you to feel fertile again, is to play and to be joyful and to not not be rushing and not take everything so serious, and to have fun with improving your fertility. So if your fertility journey is not fun, if you're not feeling like a divine goddess, if you're not in a space that makes you feel like you can do anything, then I invite you to follow me and this series on fertility energetics, where I am going to help to ensure that you increase your fertility frequency so that way, hopefully, you can conceive a baby or whatever it is that you desire, whether that's shrinking fibroids and all of that. So again, check out the description and the playlist, and I will see you in a whole another topic. All right, take care.